Do you often feel like you're seeing the world through a slightly different lens than everyone else? Have you ever found yourself feeling profoundly alone, even when surrounded by people you care about? This persistent sense of being the different one, of not quite fitting in, can be disconcerting and even painful. It's a feeling many carry from childhood, a quiet awareness of patterns, energies, or truths others seem to miss, leading you to suppress your authentic self just to navigate. But what if this feeling isn't a flaw? What if it's a signal? This is where the transformative insights of Carl Jung offer a guiding light. Jung, the brilliant explorer of the human psyche, delved deep into the landscape of the unconscious, studying the ego, the persona we present to the world, the shadow aspects we hide, and the ultimate potential of the self. He understood this feeling of difference not as a dysfunction, but as a vital part of a profound journey he called individuation. Join me as we explore, through Jung's wisdom, why this feeling of being other might be your greatest gift, and what it truly means on the path to becoming who you are meant to be. Get ready for an exploration that can bring clarity to this lifelong sense of distinctness. This sensation of being an outlier, of having an internal resonance that doesn't quite match the external world's frequency, often begins subtly. As children, we naturally express our unique qualities, but societal pressures, family expectations, and the fundamental human desire to belong can lead us to develop a persona, a mask we wear to navigate the social world. For those who feel inherently different, this persona can feel particularly constricting, like ill-fitting clothes. You learn quickly what parts of you are acceptable and which are not. The unacceptable parts, the insights, the sensitivities, the unique perspectives that don't fit the mold, get pushed away, hidden in the unconscious. This creates an internal divide, a feeling of dissonance between the you that interacts with the world, the ego operating through the persona, and the deeper you lurking beneath the surface. Carl Jung recognized this dynamic. He understood that the ego, while necessary for navigating reality, can become overly identified with the persona, leading us further away from our true nature. This hidden part, containing everything we've disowned, the perceived flaws, the unconventional thoughts, the powerful instincts, is what Jung called the shadow. The feeling of being profoundly different often stems from the tension between the persona we feel compelled to present and the shadow aspects we are forced to suppress. It's the quiet ache of the disowned parts yearning for recognition. You might feel this as an inexplicable sadness, a restlessness, or that persistent sense that something fundamental about you is unseen or misunderstood by others. This isn't just social anxiety. It's an existential feeling of otherness that points to a deeper process at play. Jung proposed that this discomfort, this alienation, is not a pathology to be cured but a signal, a call from the unconscious. It's the psyche prompting you to look inward, to explore the rich, often challenging landscape of your inner world. The feeling of difference is often the first hint of the tremendous potential residing within your shadow and your deeper self. It's an invitation to embark on the journey of individuation, the lifelong process of integrating the conscious ego with the unconscious, bringing together all the disparate parts of your personality, including the shadow, into a cohesive whole centered around the self. This journey is unique for everyone, guided by the potent wisdom found in the archetypes that structure the unconscious and revealed through the language of dreams and symbols. These inner guides offer clues, sometimes through striking moments of synchronicity, showing you that your path, though different, is meaningful. The struggles with feeling like you don't belong are often the very impetus needed to turn inwards and discover the authentic core that the world outside couldn't accommodate. It's in embracing this difference, exploring the shadow, and listening to the unconscious that you begin to understand the true nature of the self, the organizing principle of your psyche. What initially feels like a burden of otherness slowly reveals itself as the unique blueprint of who you are meant to become. The feeling of not belonging externally is often a powerful catalyst for discovering your internal home. This internal journey involves confronting those parts of yourself that you've hidden away, not just the negative aspects, but often the most powerful, creative, and unique qualities that didn't fit into societal expectations. The feeling of being different means you were likely already operating from a place slightly outside the collective ego's consensus reality, making you more attuned to the signals from the unconscious. This alienation, this sense of being on the outside looking in, often stems from a deep-seated resistance to maintaining a false persona, a mask that doesn't truly represent the inner landscape. The ego, which is the center of consciousness and our sense of self, often identifies strongly with this persona, the face we show to the world, the role we play to gain acceptance. But Carl Jung understood that clinging too tightly to this external identity suffocates the authentic self. When you feel that pull to withdraw, it's often the self, the totality of your psyche, calling you towards a deeper truth buried within the unconscious. This discomfort signals that the persona you've adopted no longer serves the emerging individuality that longs to be expressed. It's a necessary period of differentiation where you begin to distinguish between who you are expected to be and who you truly are. Stepping away from the collective expectations can feel like a profound loss because the ego finds security in belonging. It can trigger fear and uncertainty, making the shadow aspects you've repressed, your perceived flaws, undesirable impulses, or even magnificent potentials you deem too challenging, feel even more intimidating. Yet this difficult phase is fertile ground for individuation. It forces a confrontation with the unconscious, urging you to explore those hidden realms. It's a call to delve into the rich, often chaotic world of dreams and symbols, the language through which the unconscious communicates its profound wisdom. Dreams, filled with potent symbols, offer clues to the dynamics at play within your psyche, revealing suppressed emotions, unacknowledged desires, and the stirrings of the self. They can show you aspects of your shadow that need to be integrated or illuminate the path towards individuation, often referencing universal patterns found in the archetypes that reside in the collective unconscious. These archetypal energies, like the hero, the anima animus, or the wise old person, shape our experiences and can provide guidance, sometimes underscored by meaningful coincidences or moments of synchronicity that feel like affirmations from the universe that you are moving in the right direction. Even if you feel lost, embracing this inner journey means accepting the discomfort, the loneliness, and the confrontation with your shadow. It means learning to interpret the symbols presented in your life and dreams, listening to the whispers of the unconscious rather than just the loud demands of the external world or the fear-driven reactions of the ego. This process isn't about becoming a hermit or rejecting connection entirely, but about building a strong internal foundation anchored in the self. From this more grounded place, you can eventually relate to the world more authentically, no longer needing the old persona for validation. The feeling of being different transforms from a burden into a recognition of your unique psychological structure, a testament to the individuation process unfolding. It's a continuous dialogue between your conscious ego and the vast unconscious, facilitated by the guidance of archetypes and the insights gleaned from dreams and synchronicity, all working towards the ultimate goal of realizing the self's full potential. The initial feelings of exile are simply the psyche's way of clearing space for the genuine self to emerge, demanding that you turn your attention inward to discover the riches hidden within your shadow and the wisdom held in the unconscious. Turning inward is not a passive retreat. It's an active engagement with the hidden landscapes of your own psyche. This is where the shadow often resides, containing not just the parts of ourselves we deem unacceptable, but also immense untapped energy and creativity. The initial encounter with the shadow can be disorienting, even frightening, as it challenges the comfortable identity the ego has built. The ego prefers the familiar, the controlled, and this deep dive into the unconscious feels anything but secure. This resistance from the ego is natural. It feels like a threat to its established order, but bypassing the shadow means remaining fragmented. The very sensitivities described, the deep empathy, the intuition that absorbs energies others miss, are often connected to aspects that might have been pushed into the unconscious and become part of the shadow because the external world didn't know how to handle them. Learning to work with, rather than suppress these deep perceptions is crucial. The unconscious communicates through a rich language of symbols, frequently presenting themselves in dreams. Paying attention to your dreams becomes a vital practice, offering clues about the shadow, guidance from archetypes, and insights into the deeper layers of your being that the conscious ego might miss. These symbols aren't always easy to decipher, but their consistent presence is an invitation to explore the wisdom held within. It's through engaging with this symbolic language that you begin to understand the source of that deep perception, the way your psyche registers the subtle energies and unacknowledged wounds of the world around you. This isn't a burden your persona can simply discard. It's intrinsically linked to the self's potential for a richer, more connected experience of reality. Integrating the shadow doesn't mean letting its negative aspects run wild. It means acknowledging their existence, understanding their origins, and reclaiming the energy bound up in them. This process, central to individuation as described by figures like Carl Jung, allows you to become more whole. As you integrate these previously rejected parts, your capacity to process the overwhelming input from the world actually increases. Not because you block it out, but because your internal container becomes stronger and more resilient. The old persona, built often on trying to hide these sensitivities or project a facade of normalcy, no longer serves this emerging strength. Shedding the old persona is painful because it feels like losing a protective layer, but it's necessary for the authentic self to shine through. This journey of individuation is lifelong, a continuous process of dialogue between the conscious ego and the vast unconscious, guided by the archetypal patterns that structure human experience. Moments of synchronicity often appear as powerful confirmations along this path, feeling like the unconscious is aligning with the external world to underscore a truth or a direction revealed in dreams or through inner reflection. They are whispers from the self, reassuring the ego that it is on the right track, even when the path feels lonely or misunderstood by the world. The perceived difference, the feeling of not belonging, begins to transform into a profound sense of belonging to something deeper, the internal landscape, the collective unconscious, and the universal journey towards wholeness that Carl Jung dedicated his life to understanding. It is in embracing the totality of who you are, including the shadow aspects and the unique sensitivities, that you move closer to realizing the full potential of yourself. The symbols that appear in your life, the messages in your dreams, the coincidences that feel like synchronicity, all are signposts on this sacred path of remembering and reclaiming your authentic nature, far beyond the limitations of the old persona or the fears of the ego. This commitment to the inner journey, guided by the wisdom of the unconscious and the call of the self, is an act of profound self-acceptance, moving you from a place of perceived brokenness to one of integrated power and purpose. The initial discomfort is merely the catalyst urging you to seek the deeper meaning hidden beneath the surface. Much like interpreting symbols in a complex dream reveals layers of truth the conscious mind initially misses, your heightened sensitivity is not a sign of weakness, but an indicator of a psyche finely tuned to the subtle energies and archetypal currents flowing beneath consensus reality, a trait that, when integrated, empowers your individuation process and allows you to navigate the world not by forcing yourself into a predefined mold, but by living authentically from the core of your being, connecting with the collective unconscious, and recognizing your place within the larger tapestry of existence, moving ever closer to embodying the full potential of the self, as outlined by Carl Jung's profound insights into the human psyche. Ignoring the call to turn inward, to face the shadow and listen to the unconscious through dreams and symbols, is to remain bound by the limitations of the ego and the constraints of the persona, perpetuating the feeling of being lost or out of sync with the world. Embracing this path, however challenging it may be, is the only way to truly understand the unique language of your soul and to find your authentic way of being in the world, guided by moments of synchronicity that affirm your connection to a deeper order. The pain of feeling excluded is not merely a personal wound. It can be the very fissure through which these potent archetypes emerge from the collective unconscious, demanding recognition and integration. When the conventional paths feel closed, the psyche, guided by the wisdom Carl Jung explored so deeply, seeks alternative routes towards wholeness. The ache of being pushed to the margins can be the initial trigger activating the wounded healer within, turning personal suffering into a source of empathy and a capacity to alleviate the pain of others, a profound alchemical process. Similarly, the isolation often felt by the excluded can mirror the necessary solitude of the hermit, a deliberate turning away from external distractions to listen to the inner voice, to connect with the deeper self and the vast landscape of the unconscious. This retreat allows for introspection, for grappling with the shadow aspects that may have contributed to the feeling of being different, and for deciphering the subtle guidance offered through dreams and the symbols that populate both our inner and outer worlds. Furthermore, seeing the world from the outside, free from the blinders of the dominant persona and the rigid structures of the ego, can awaken the vidente, the seer who perceives hidden truths and systemic flaws that those comfortably within the system might overlook. This perspective, often forged in the fires of marginalization, grants the courage to speak uncomfortable truths, even if it means further estrangement. The journey of the excluded, therefore, becomes a powerful engine for individuation. The lifelong process of integrating the conscious and unconscious, the ego and the self, recognizing that true authenticity often requires stepping outside the expected norms. Moments of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences Carl Jung pointed out, often punctuate this path, serving as confirmation from the deeper layers of reality that one is moving in alignment with their soul's purpose, even when the rational mind, the ego, struggles to comprehend the challenges. These archetypes are not labels to confine you, but keys to understanding the deeper patterns at play when life pushes you to the edges, revealing the hidden potential within the shadow and the rich resources available in the unconscious mind, waiting to be explored through dreams and symbols. This feeling of being an outsider, of resonating at a different frequency, often forces a confrontation with the layers of the psyche that Carl Jung described. The persona we build to navigate the social world, designed to help us fit in, can feel particularly constricting when our core nature feels fundamentally misaligned with external expectations. The pressure to conform can build a persona that feels more like a cage than a protective mask, leading to a profound internal conflict. This tension between the expected persona and the deeper, authentic self is often the catalyst for the challenging, yet vital process of individuation. It is in resisting the urge to completely abandon the self, for the sake of the ego's desire for acceptance, that the true journey begins. Embracing one's unique difference necessitates a turning inward, a willingness to delve into the unconscious mind. It requires facing the shadow, those parts of ourselves, including the very traits that make us feel different, that have been suppressed, denied, or deemed unacceptable, either by society or by our own internal critics, shaped by external judgment. This process of integrating the shadow isn't about becoming less different, but about owning the full spectrum of who you are, transforming perceived weaknesses into sources of strength and insight. The sensitivity, the intensity, the unconventional interests, these are not flaws but facets of the unconscious waiting to be integrated into a richer, more complete self. The unconscious speaks a language often foreign to the rational ego. It communicates through dreams, weaving intricate narratives filled with symbols that offer profound insights into our inner landscape and our true path. Paying attention to these symbols, whether they appear in dreams, in nature, or in unexpected moments of synchronicity, is like receiving guidance from the deeper wisdom of the self. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of deciphering these symbols, seeing them as keys to unlocking the mysteries of the psyche and the universal patterns represented by archetypes. These archetypes, like the wounded healer, the innocent, or the sage, can help us understand the larger forces and patterns at play in our lives, providing context and meaning to our feelings of being different. The path of individuation, powered by the acceptance of difference, moves one away from the ego's endless pursuit of external validation towards an inner knowing guided by the self. This doesn't mean becoming isolated, but rather building a foundation of self-acceptance so solid that external opinions lose their power to define or destabilize you. It's in this state of being, rooted in authenticity and no longer needing to perform through a false persona to gain approval, that one's presence becomes a quiet, revolutionary force. This revolution isn't loud or aggressive. It's the simple, unwavering assertion of the self's right to exist fully and authentically. It challenges the collective unconscious assumptions about what is normal or acceptable, simply by demonstrating a different way of being is not only possible but powerful. Moments of synchronicity often serve as gentle affirmations, confirming that this path, however unconventional, is aligned with a deeper order, reinforcing the connection between the individual self and the larger patterns of the cosmos, just as Carl Jung explored. This lived authenticity, freed from the constraints of an ill-fitting persona and the demands of the ego, speaks volumes without uttering a word, offering a silent invitation for others to question their own conformity and explore the depths of their own unconscious and shadow. The symbols that guided your way through dreams and inner exploration now manifest as your outward presence. The path of individuation, a central concept explored by pioneers like Carl Jung, represents the profound journey of integrating the disparate parts of the psyche. It's a necessary movement away from the dictates of the superficial ego and the restrictive persona towards the authentic core of the self. This requires courageous engagement with the unconscious and its shadow aspects, interpreting the language of symbols found in dreams, understanding archetypal patterns, and recognizing the guiding hand of synchronicity. Trust this vital process of becoming more fully yourself. What aspect of your unconscious is calling for integration today? If these depths of psychological exploration resonate with the deep thinker in you, be sure to subscribe and activate notifications to continue this journey together.